This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. For years, the mystique surrounding Rolex Exhibition-Only watches has intrigued collectors, fans, and even casual buyers. Rolex is known for its luxury and exclusivity, but introducing exhibition-only watches has created a new layer of questions and speculation. Why are some Rolex watches displayed but unavailable for purchase? Are these watches authentic, fully functional, and worth the hype, or are they just placeholders meant to drive up demand? To understand the truth behind Rolex's exhibition-only policy, we need to explore its history, the evolving market demand, and the unique approach Rolex has taken to adapt to a global frenzy over its timepieces. In this video brought to you by the luxury world that will serve as a guide, so come and join us in this exploration. If you have yet to subscribe to our channel, be sure to do so to stay updated on upcoming content. Before the mid-2010, purchasing a Rolex was relatively straightforward. Authorized dealers or ADs typically kept a full inventory of Rolex watches, giving customers a broad selection to choose from. Most models were accessible, and if a particular watch were not available, customers could simply order it and expect to receive it in a few weeks. However, as Rolex watches gained popularity and luxury watch collecting grew as a trend, demand began to outpace supply. Rolex exhibition watches have intrigued many watch enthusiasts, sparking questions about their purpose and availability. Are these watches real? Can they be tried on? And if so, why can customers simply purchase them? To understand the current situation, we need to look back. Before 2015 or 2016, buying a Rolex was straightforward. Customers could walk into an authorized dealer and either find their desired model in the case or place an order to receive it within weeks. With a few exceptions, such as the Daytona, most models were readily available. However, after around 2018, demand for Rolex watches began to far outstrip supply. Authorized dealers were often left with empty display cases, frustrating both customers and dealers who struggled to satisfy demand. In response, Rolex introduced exhibition-only models, adding small signs indicating these watches were just for display. Although this kept cases from being empty, it also led to more questions. Customers wanted to know why they could not buy the models on display, which ADs explained were necessary for showing to other customers. Early reports claimed some of these exhibition watches lacked internal movements, but those who viewed them softly functional, complete models. Originally, Rolex did not allow ADs to sell these display pieces, as they came without a service card and were supposed to be returned for cleaning or redistribution. Over time, Rolex's policies evolved, with many ADs now receiving warranty cards for exhibition models, allowing them to sell these watches once new inventory arrives. To counter the problem of empty display cases, Rolex introduced exhibition-only models. These watches would be fully displayed, with a small sign indicating they were not for sale. On one hand, this was a strategic move to ensure that stores had something to show prospective buyers, maintaining the allure and experience of visiting an AD. The exhibition-only concept by Rolex is a practice where Rolex displays certain watch models in authorized dealer stores, but these pieces are not available for sale. Instead, they are purely for display to give customers an up-close experience with popular Rolex models, which are often in high demand and challenging to purchase due to limited supply. The idea behind the exhibition-only watches is to allow potential buyers to try on the models, understand their aesthetics, and get a feel for their quality and design in person, even if they cannot immediately purchase them. These models often include sought-after collections, such as the Daytona, Submariner, and GMT Master II. The concept arose as a response to the scarcity of Rolex watches and the substantial waiting times, aiming to maintain interest while managing inventory constraints. On the other hand, it added an element of mystique and exclusivity, which are qualities that Rolex has long used to differentiate its brand. However, this led to a new dilemma. Customers could see the watches they desired, but they could not purchase them on the spot. The phrase exhibition only sparked frustration, and ADs often had to explain to disappointed customers why the watches could not be sold. Initially, rumors circulated that these exhibition pieces might not be fully functional or were dummy models with no movements inside. Some speculated they were incomplete or simply placeholders to make the cases look fuller. Yet, many who examined these watches closely, including longtime collectors, observed that these models were indeed real, fully functional Rolex watches. The only difference lay in the fact that Rolex intended these watches to remain and sold for display purposes. Originally, these exhibition models arrived without service cards, making them unsellable by policy. Rolex's policy also required ADs to return these watches to the brand periodically, either for cleaning or for display elsewhere. In time, however, Rolex began to send these watches with full warranty cards, allowing ADs to eventually sell them when a new shipment arrived to replace the display pieces. Another interesting aspect of the exhibition-only policy is the rotation of these models. When a new shipment of Rolex watches arrives at an authorized dealer's, existing display models are rotated out, making way for the latest arrivals. At this point, ADs often have the option to sell the rotated models, provided they now come with a warranty card. Rolex collectors and buyers on a waitlist might be offered these watches, but the AD may or may not disclose that they were once display pieces. Many customers do not mind purchasing an exhibition model, as Rolex's showroom policies ensure that these watches are handled minimally, and they are often protected by stickers or other coverings. For Rolex fans, these exhibition models offer a chance to obtain a highly sought-after watch that might otherwise have been nearly impossible to source. The exhibition-only approach also has its nuances when it comes to AD-customer relationships. Long-term customers often enjoy priority, with ADs carefully managing who gets first access to available watches. In some cases, an AD might even display a model as exhibition-only while planning to sell it once the right customer, usually a regular client or someone with a strong buying history, and expresses interest. For newer customers, the authorized dealer might require some patience, placing them on a waiting list to confirm their commitment and ensure they are not intending to flip the watch on the gray market. ADs must tread carefully in these cases, as Rolex occasionally deploys secret shoppers to ensure dealers are abiding by Rolex's policies. For customers wondering whether they can try on these models, that typically depends on the dealer. Many ADs allow walk-ins to try on display watches, which are protected by stickers and showroom standards to maintain their quality. Rolex's approach to exhibition watches is not rigidly enforced. Rather, the brand gives ADs some discretion in deciding which watches to display based on their clientele, location, and store size. For example, an AD in Dubai may display more yellow gold or diamond-studded models to cater to local tastes, while a store in the US may have a different selection. When new shipments come in, ADs often rotate exhibition pieces, replacing old models with new ones. In addition, authorized dealers highly value their relationships with long-term customers, often prioritizing loyalty. Dealers know they must be honest and discreet, as Rolex occasionally deploys secret shoppers to verify AD's integrity. Interestingly, they may sometimes place a watch in the exhibition case that is immediately available for sale, especially if it is a highly sought-after model like the Submariner. In these cases, they may place a new customer on a waiting list, using the time to ensure the buyer is not a reseller. If everything checks out, the customer could receive a call within a week or two with the offer to buy the piece. In conclusion, the world of Rolex exhibition watches is nuanced and varies by region and dealer discretion. If you are a new buyer or a long-time Rolex fan, the experience can often depend on your relationship with the AD and your timing. For VIP customers, it is even possible to purchase certain display pieces on the spot. The experience around Rolex exhibition models is complex, shaped by evolving demand, Rolex's shifting policies, and the AD's strategic discretion, making it an intriguing topic for watch lovers. What are your thoughts on the topic that we shared in this video? If you enjoyed the video, we would appreciate it if you let us know by leaving a comment and giving it a thumbs up. Do not forget to follow our channel for more content. Thank you for watching The Luxury World, and we look forward to having you join us in our upcoming videos.